whenever I lecture, the purple cow is always here. And you got to separate yourself from the competition in an amazing way with ethics and excellence always. And I'll tell you more about the purple cow later. So let's jump right into some stuff here. And when you speak, never get in front of the slides. So first off, a big shout out to Dr. Emily Letran for having me. Boom. Yeah, I've been trying to get her to call me Bob. Doctor, it's a respect thing. I tell her doctor is for guys with gray hair and reading glasses, so it can't be me. And his lecture is going to be Purple Cow Wow, and bam, and it's unprecedented practice and business action for unprecedented times. And in my humble opinion, we are living through a time that I never would have predicted. I never would have predicted a pandemic. I never talk politics, but as a proud American, I can't believe what we're living through. I've never seen anything like this: school shootings, stabbings, carjackings. I live here in Chicago, and every Monday morning on the news, there was 61 shootings and 14 fatalities over the weekend. That is absolutely cuckoo. And so when we're living through these unprecedented times, you always got to have your clinical hat on first, but you also got to have your business hat on. And if that business hat isn't on, you and your team are not going to succeed to the level that you deserve. And we work hard in dentistry. Nobody knows what we go through, you know. Nobody sits down in the chair and goes, oh, I can't wait to get an inferior block. The long buckle is my favorite. Can't wait. You know, somebody's off by an eighth of a millimeter on a restoration. Patient complains. My general surgery colleagues at Northwestern, they do some belly surgery. Patient doesn't come back going, oh, my scar's off by an eighth of a millimeter, help me. Just doesn't work that way. We work hard. So this is from 2019, and this is the first action for when I spoke to in New Orleans, and boom, it was March 2019. It was called Powerful Management Secrets to Become a Super Successful Dental Business. And Emily doesn't age. I'm in private practice, and I also have a coaching firm, the Pick Group. And something that I think that is important with that is I'm in the trenches, just like everybody else. And when, when you're in the trenches, you know what everybody goes through and you can experience things. I have an amazing team. They're called my 5-star Purple Cow Wow team. They're amazing. We do things that no one would ever believe. And you gotta know how to pick the right team, how to get them. That's a whole other lecture. And they've been with me for a very, very, very long time. Sonia, who just retired, was with me for 32 years. And neither one of us are in psychiatric care. And one of my quotes is always, I love quotes. I have a book coming out. I can't wait till it gets done. It's called Purple Cow Wow, Unprecedented Practice Action from Unprecedented Times. And you always got to dream big, but always shoot for another solar system. And if you land on Saturn, that's okay. Meaning, if you dream to get across the street, you'll get 5 feet. If you dream to go a mile down, you may get across the street. That's just the way it works. I never thought I would be in practice management. You never know where time takes you. And Kristen, that looks like you in that picture. Could you just grab me a napkin or something? Be great. And so I want to go over a couple things. This is me at age 5 months. I was so fat, you almost, look at my fingers. You almost can't even get them together. I got 47 shins. This is me at age 9. And my buddy Ed Zuckerberg talks about, he goes, Bob has a triple pompadour on my head. I've had it ever since I'm a little kid. And this is me at age 12. I've been playing guitar since I'm 7. And this was my first group, a duet. We were singing some birthday thing, but we really must have stunk. This girl has her hand on her ears. So that's obviously how bad we were. I used to be a water ski instructor and a professional water skier. This is up at a place, I used to work for the Tommy Bartlett Water Show. We got farmed out to a place called Nippersink. This was part of the show. Wood skis aren't even made anymore. This was me freshman year in dental school. Look at the hair. What a lot of people don't know, this was 6 months after I finished my residency. I had to borrow these glasses from somebody, they're clear glasses. I was the first person in the world to ever use a laser in the mouth. I co-wrote the first textbook in 1986. I think it's in 18 languages. I left lasers by 1998 for 1,000 reasons, but the legacy comes back to me. It thrusts me on an international lecture circuit. I used to love playing hoops. Always too early. This is about 1990 at Northwestern, and look at the mullet, oh my God. I'm teaching a course on pig jaws, on how to do stuff. The story's way too long, but I'm a former jet jockey, and I used to fly some friends around. We used to have fun. We'd grab this little Piper. We'd go up for dinner in different places. And very, very, very honored. In 1998, I won the Gordon Christensen Award, Outstanding Lecturer. And but it's funny, my friends Linda Miles and Roger Levin told me 30 years ago that I would end up in practice management. And I looked at them and I said, you guys are cuckoo. They were 100% correct, and I said, why? And this happens to be a slide from the lecture I gave at this meeting almost 30 years ago. I was lecturing on perio-restorative. This was the last slide, and if you look at it, develop a mission statement, perform preclinical interviews, dress for success. In a million years, I never paid attention to what I was doing. As I mentioned, I've been playing guitar since I'm 7. This was the summer of 1998 in a band I was in. No laughing at the leather pants. And when we turned the page, 2 weeks later, my life went black. I had a blowout of my appendix, and I was given less than 6 months to live. It was a cellular adenocarcinoma in my appendix, one of the rarest tumors known to man. I was the first one ever at Northwestern, and I'll tell you why I'm sweating, because it's one of the side effects from the chemo I was on, because I'm not nervous up here, as you can probably tell. One of my mentors came in and said, we think you have less than 6 months to live. We've never seen an appendix cancer at Northwestern. We don't know what to do. We're worried about spread. They took part of my intestine out the next day. And 2 weeks later, sat down with Al Benson, who's now a world-famous oncologist. I thought Al was very smart. No personality when he talks to you. He's up here, I'm like, Al, I'm down here, dude. I signed off on 41 side effects that they could get me. I went through 14 months of experimental chemotherapy and radiation, never done on a humanoid before. Every Friday for 14 months for 2 hours on a Friday afternoon chemo. In the middle, 3 months of radiation, each month a different radiation bead, never done on a human before. And during those 90 days, a chemo pack going in 24/7. And side effect number 7 got me about maybe 12, 13 years ago. I was walking across the street with a couple buddies and I fell down. And I'm like, what the shit? And they go, pig's getting older. Kept happening, long story short, it was side effect 7. From the radiation damage at the level of the appendix, they were worried I could have a weakness on my right side, got me. Side effect 41 was loss of cilia. 7 years ago, 2 weeks before a sold-out ballroom at Midwinter Meeting, I woke up completely deaf, unable to hear. My cilia went dead. And I had 1% left in my right ear, so I have a cochlear implant. My buddy Nathan Ho calls it the hearing aid the size of West Texas. I hate it. I have 6 in the left ear, so I decided not to get a second one in case some research comes along Sure enough, one of our buddies in Northwestern believes he can reactivate cilia, because once you have a cochlear implant, everything's completely dead. Side effect 14 was they were worried I could have unusual perspiration, which I have. I don't know if you can tell I'm sweating up here. I love lecturing, it just is what it is, but 25 years later, here I am. And in the big deal, thank you. And in the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. And that's a great quote by some dude by the name of Al Einstein. And at that time, I sort of sat down, realized I needed to reset my clock in 4,000 different ways. I had a practice partnership that I knew wasn't working. I bought him out within 10 days. For many reasons, great paradox, great person, just wasn't meant to be. God, this drives me cuckoo. And left lasers immediately, went into practice management, got myself a coach. I signed off on a secrecy agreement on two of my mentors that until they die, I can't tell you who their coach was, although I mentioned two of them to you, and I'm gonna get sued. And but from that, a year later, I developed something called the PBR, Pick Business Team Building Retreat. We'll talk about that. It's use a retreat to become a Fortune 500 dental business, and which is huge. So when we work on that, am I going to drive you nuts if I move to the other side? Want me to stay right here? Okay. I appreciate Kristen being here. Kristen's one of my executive assistants. She's also what's called the PRC SMC, which I'll explain in a minute. And in a million years, if you ever told me that someone would accompany me to a meeting in case I can't hear something, I would have said, what are you, cuckoo? And so Kristen, I appreciate you being here. Let's talk about Purple Cow. And it's a book, comes from a book by the name of Seth Godin, which is Purple Cow. And if you're ever up in Wisconsin, every cow is black and white. They all look the same, just drive. But if all of a sudden you saw a purple cow, you'd slam on your brakes, you'd take pictures, there'd be people taking video, there'd be a traffic jam. It's Purple Cow. And all of this came from me doing a webinar with my buddy Nathan Ho. And he goes, wasn't using a virtual background for some reason. He goes, what's that little purple book behind you? And I said, Purple Cow. He goes, you're the Purple Cow Wow guy. And I looked at him like he was cuckoo. But you gotta be Purple Cow in anything you do, in any profession, period. And the key to success is finding a way to stand out. You've got to separate yourself. You got to make yourself purple. As a coach, when I go online and I look at websites of dentists, I'll say the same thing. Somehow everybody went to the most prestigious dental school. Somehow they all graduated in the top 5 of their class. They all do this. They do CEREC, Invisalign, intraoral hemorrhoidectomies, blah, blah, blah. But what do you do different than anybody else? What separates you from the crowd? Period. And when you do have a Purple Cow, and I'll show you a couple things we do, get you 5-star Google reviews in 5 seconds. And you want 5-star reviews that are great, that are awesome. I'm not perfect, but I chuckle when I see some of these offices that have like 3,000 Google reviews, and they may only have 600 patients. And I'm like, what the heck? And so it's very funny to me, and so it's worth noticing. It's exceptional. It's new. Wow, that's really cool, man. Electric vehicles when they first come out. Holy moly. You don't have to get. Everybody thought Musk was nuts. I wrote a blog the other day that I feel 40 years from now, I happen to, stories way too long, I happen to restore old Corvettes. And 40 years from now, if I'm still alive, I'll have to know where some electronic charging station has gas still to put in my vehicle. Everything will be electric, hands down. Tesla, I'm not a financial advisor, so anything I ever say for finances is for value-tainment. Jesus, listen to it. Sometimes I don't listen to my mentors, but since I've had Tesla as a stock, it's gone up over 1,000%. 1,000%. Isn't that cuckoo? And I call it the millionaire maker. It's purple, boring stuff is routine, typical black and white cow. So I'm purple, they're not. And I almost wore purple shoes today, but didn't do it. And you must develop, and I don't care, you're in practice or business, you've got to develop your purple cow wows in every aspect of everything that you do. And remember, it's your dental business. You're running a business, period, and basic business principles have to apply. God, this is a pain in the butt. Anyhow, I probably should lecture in Alaska, Kristen. Ugh. Anyhow, drives me cuckoo. And bam, we have a new editor of Dental Economics now, but when Chris was the editor in May of 2021, he calls me up about a week before the thing's gonna come out, and he says, oh my God, dude, you're gonna love the next issue. And I'm like, why? He goes, I won't tell you till it shows up in your mailbox. And sticking out. And boy, is it true, sticking out. And again, everybody says the same thing. And am I driving you nuts by moving? Okay. So sticking out, huge. If you're not on my Purple Cow Wow Facebook group, get on there. And there's a link to it. We do all kinds of super coolio awesome stuff. Every Sunday night I go live for about a half hour with tips and tricks. Thursday night is interview time with industry leaders and experts. Well, last night I interviewed, who did I interview from the Mentor, Laura Braindead, and from the Mentor podcast. And just a lot of fun. Next week is Lonnie Grass, who's a coach, and all kinds of fun people coming up. And every Monday morning at East Central Time here at 6:20 is Monday Morning Motivation. Tuesday is Thumbs Up Tuesday, and Wednesday is Wacky Wednesday. It's something fun and a question that you're like, oh my God. So I go live every Sunday night. I do interviews, and you never know who's going to be there. In August, I'm doing round 3 with Ed. He's the chief dental officer at a company called Viome, V-I-O-M-E, and they're working on a vaccine to get rid of P. gingivalis, which is a bug found in gum disease that we know absolutely is also seen in Alzheimer's. And so the mouth-body connection, whenever I lecture with him, it's hysterical. His first slide was didn't floss. And God, I've known Ed since 1991, where I lectured for a study club he ran. And I remember, it's before Waze and before the internet, and I rented a car at the airport, and I'm driving, and I'm like, God, I went by this address like 10 times. So I finally stopped. It was a house. He goes, oh, I should have told you. My office is attached to my house. And so you walk past his family room into the office. A little too close for me, but a lot of fun. And at that time, I got a very cute picture of Ed's son, Mark, who's CEO of Facebook. His oldest sister, and we're all doing this. And I tease Mark to this day that if his stock doesn't keep going up, I'm going to put that picture out on media. And that's another stock, boy. Meta, as you know, it's no longer called Facebook, it's Meta. The last, I think, 3 months, it's gone almost 56%. That's crazy. If you had $100 in 3 months, you got now $156. And it goes from there. It's an amazing way to make money. In my opinion, the second best way, number one way, is real estate. That was Dave Maddow, a lot of fun. I run a mastermind, and if anybody's interested, it's something that meets every Friday, well, it meets once a month on a Friday for 3 hours with CE for 1 year, surprise guest speakers, and we cover everything you gotta do to make a practice happen. And everybody doing okay?
Yeah.
All right, groovy. And I always tell everybody when we start the mastermind, at each session, everything we talk about allows them to take action. Action yields differentiation, which yields success, which yields freedom. And freedom, people, yields money. And there is nothing wrong with money. And I will never forget lecturing in about 1987. American Dental Association was called Up and Comers. I was there because I pioneered lasers. Some non-dental people, poor guy committed suicide last year. Tony Bourdain was there, became a very well-known chef. And we're at dinner later on, and some guy keeps talking about, too many of these speakers talked about money, 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 money. So Zig Ziglar was also one of the speakers. I don't know if you guys know Zig. He kicks me under the table and he goes, watch that, reaches into his pocket, pulls out the biggest wad of $100 bills I've ever seen. And he goes, I like to smell the money. He smells it again. Yeah, smells good. Puts it in his pocket. I like the bulge it creates in my pocket. My wife likes it a lot. It allows me to do anything I want to do. He looks at the guy and goes, son, money, 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 money is all right. And I've been accused of that when I lecture and I say, hey, I know for sure I was given less than 6 months to live, but money can buy you the best physicians, the best everybody. It gives you freedom, it gives you space. If you gotta stop, you gotta have at least 6 months of personal overhead, practice overhead stuck away for disasters. And you never know, money buys freedom. When I check out, it allows Northwestern to have a Robert M. Pick Cancer Cure Center. No research. If it isn't involved for a cure, money can't be used. So I shouldn't have had to go through what I went through. It's cuckoo. We do not have a cure for cancer today. And there's 6 of us that are all on staff at Northwestern. I'm the only dentist. We're there. It's about it's like about a 10-minute recording. It's for physicians 10, 20, 30, 40, 500 years down the line to watch what happened to us. My buddy Ed is a dermatologist. He lost both his legs due to a very rare cancer about 20 years ago. And I look at the thing and I say, look at me. I get up and I walk. I show him the hearing aid. You know, I'm sweating and I'm like, this is cuckoo of what I went through. And I said, I hope in the future there's a Starbucks commercial and 2 ladies are sitting there and one says to the other, how was your week last week? Yeah, I had breast cancer, but I took Breast X and I'm fine, as if it was nothing. We got to cure this ridiculousness. So don't forget, money buys freedom. Whoop, 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 there we go. And everything always has to be based on ethics versus excellence. And if you don't have ethics versus excellence, nothing's going to work, man. It's so important, you have no idea. Are we doing okay? Always freaks everybody out when they're on the live stream. So open the curtains on that. Boom, boom. One of my quotes is image coupled to strong performance is unstoppable. And I want you to think about that. Image, strong performance, unstoppable. There's not a person on planet Earth, when I think of people that have this type of image, all I gotta do is say MJ, and everybody knows it's Michael Jordan. Always dressed well, performance on the court was unbelievable. And so success, God, I hate when they Photoshop him into my body. I don't know why they do that. Tony Robbins, and he's wearing a purple tie, man. Tony is phenomenally successful. He has his own jet. It's great. I need to go here tomorrow. I don't have to worry about going to the airport, doing stuff. It's phenomenal. And this is so much fun. You always see people like this. I'm going to do an exercise. Everybody stand up for a second. Do, do, do. Put your hands in the air. All right, you can sit back down. That's how they do these promo slides. It's pretty funny. And I learned that from somebody a long time ago. Hysterical. All right. Everybody doing okay still? Yeah. All right, groovy. Here's a quote from Tony. Every one of my team members knows this. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. Think about that. Okay? And Boom, ba-doom. I love this from Steve Martin. Be so good, can't ignore you. Comes from an interview he did, and the guy's interviewing him, and he says, what should young comedians know? And he goes, they come up to me and go, how do I get an agent? How do I write a script? How do I stand on stage? And he says, I say to them, just be so good, can't ignore you. And I agree with that 1,000%. Okay? Michael Jordan's a classic example. Couldn't ignore him. All right, when I lecture, whether it's virtual, half day, all day, there's the PIC group top secrets. Top secret number 15, there's 4 things you gotta have to have a successful practice. Excellent skill set, effective business systems, great team and great team environment, that's huge. Boop. And it's gotta be purple, and you gotta have relationship and communication. And when you got that, everything works. I wrote an article maybe 3 years ago on this. It's chapter 11 of my upcoming book. It's called The Twin Towers, and I'm still I want to change the title because Twin Towers, I think of New York and that sort of stuff. Your skill set, you could be the best dentist in the world, graduate one in your class, know how to look for loose enamel rods better than anybody else. But your skill set will not make you successful. Fortune 500, and I want you to always think about that, Fortune 500. There's a reason Fortune 500 companies are Fortune 500 companies. They're doing something right. As I mentioned when I introduced Emily, don't be jealous of things that are successful. There's a reason they're successful. See if you can put your own spin on it and crank it. Bam! To get patients to say yes. And about a year ago, I was speaking for Paul Goodman at one of his Super Dentist Team Business Boosts. And I said, I don't know if anybody believes it, but I have a 100% case acceptance rate. And it's really true. The only time somebody doesn't go through treatment is some sort of financial problem. We can work around that. But we do things that some of my early mentors taught me that most dentists don't do. It just is what it is. It's how we're trained. And top secret number 8 is the power of relationship building. When you have a relationship with somebody, trust becomes involved, and let's face it, you're more apt to get screwed, if you will, by people you have a relationship with. Relationships are key to success. It's a must-have with your patients. It's a must-have with your team. There are specialists in the room like me. It's a must-have with my referral teams. It's all about relationships. And it starts with, you gotta love yourself first. And if you love yourself first, you can begin to love everybody else. Everybody grab your arm and go like this. Come on. And give yourself a big kiss. Okay. You now love yourself first. How about that? Yeah. So love yourself, and attention. This is one of the number 1 things we do that causes 100% success rate. 100%. The preclinical interview. This was taught to me early on by one of my early mentors by the name of Pete Dawson. And when you took his class, it's a different story, but when Pete mentored you, oh my God, the F word came out of his mouth every 5 seconds. It was like, if you don't do this, you're not here. And he goes, if you don't do the preclinical interview, you're done. Most dentists, we meet the patient in a dental chair. Walk in the room, how are you? I'm Dr. Drillenfeld. We're gonna do this, that, and this today. I meet all new patients in a preclinical interview room away from the dental chair. Most patients, I don't care if they're 19, 90, 40, 60, they go to Google reviews first when they're referred. They go to your website to see what's going on. You gotta have an amazing website. You gotta have video banners. You gotta have video testimonials. I happen to like DocSites.com is a great website company. And this all begins in here. My team member that grabs the patient within 2 seconds knows their personality profile. I don't have time to go into it here, but people are either driver, my way or the highway. They can be expressive, they can be kind of amiable, or they can be highly analytical like Mr. Spock. And there's usually primary, secondary. And if you know how to work with them, you begin to sort of imitate them. And then the assistant brings the patient in a room that looks like this. This is my preclinical interview room. It's about half the size of an operatory, and the door is right where the picture is being taken, and patient sits down, my assistant sits over there, I sit here, and I can begin to know what's going on. And you know, if I got Mr. Spock sitting in the chair there, you know, we're gonna talk about implants, and they're gonna be 4.278 microns when we put them in. I'm gonna give you 47 articles on how it's done, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't talk politics, but if I had Donald Trump sitting there, listen, we're gonna maximize time, we're gonna get the thing right away, and everything we're gonna do is gonna be huge. Okay, let's go. I'm talking that person's language, okay? And there's awards on the wall, there's all kinds of stuff. God, I hate that hearing device. Patient sits down, first thing they see is Robert M. Picks, Patient Education 2023. I can go into 4,000 slides in here and, hi everybody, and educate them. And if they're, you know, analyticals, I'm gonna spend more time. And this can take 5 minutes, this can take 40 minutes. All of our new patient exams are an hour. And if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And to go back to the preclinical interview for a sec, the last question I ask is, before we bring you to a room, do you have any questions for me about my training, my team, or anything we're doing today? They kind of go like this and go, no, let's go. Haven't even examined the patient yet, and I guarantee that I could get them signed up for treatment. And that's a purple cow wow. Okay? You separate yourself from everybody else. Top secret number 007, the PBR, the Pick Business Team Building Retreat. And this came from 98 when I got sick, bought up my practice partner. I hired a coach for 2 years. We did some retreats. A year later, I said, I'm gonna take the systems and crank them. And I remembered early on when I pioneered lasers, there were times I would be with a Fortune 500 company that wanted to get into the laser business. And I remember meeting Jack Welch, who was CEO of GE at the time. I'm going, who's Jack Welch? But I remembered these Fortune 500 companies did stuff. And I'm like, I'm gonna imitate them. And so, use retreats to become a Fortune 500 dental business. I published on this in Dentistry Today in October 2018. In 2 months, it became the second most read article that year. The number one read article that year happens to be by Emily. But as it sits current, it's the second most read article in Dentistry Today. It's over 34,000 views. I'm catching a Roger Levin article at 37, and I keep telling Roger to look in his rearview mirror. So the PBR, it's an all-day event. Yeah, when it starts out, the premier one's probably a day event. After the first year, from 1999, all of our PBRs are 2 days away from the office with my team. Going away is a must. You pretend you're a Fortune 500 company. I'm no moving quick, but I don't want to have you here till 12:30. And you want to pretend that you and your team are, are working for one of the 100 best companies to work for. Why not? And remember, basic principles of Fortune 500 companies adhere to. Dental businesses ever subscribe to. Okay? There's a reason they are Fortune 500. That's my New York twang. So here's the article. Kristen, you're on the cover of that thing, you know that? And I always have fun with my team. On this particular PBR, my boss thinks I'm kind of a big deal. Everybody gets one of those cups and, you know, blows everybody away. Great article. Here's a classic example. I love when on your phone, on my iPhone, things come up. This came up about 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, I got to copy it. This was from one of our retreats in 2019. We go about, I practice out in Naperville. We go about 4 blocks south of the office to White Eagle Golf Club. Everybody gets a binder. When I coach others, they get a binder. And it has articles, it has all kinds of things. Every one of my team members knows how to read a scientific article, because we want to make sure we're doing what we do better and up to date than anybody else. There's handouts. Everything starts with a fun raffle. It makes for a great endorphin high. okay? And throughout the day, there's also fun raffles. You pick the second seen on TV gag gift, and it opens it up, and it's like, I don't know, when those things are seen on TV, I don't know, something fun and cuckoo. First thing that's done is I talk, my office manager talks, we then immediately look at year to date. We look at our numbers for the last 2 years, production, collection. Each department reports, and that starts with the office manager, my admin team, the hygienist, the assistant. Everybody, each person in each team has about 20 minutes, and the PRC SMC. Who knows what a PRC SMC is? It's become one of the most amazing positions that you got to have. I don't care if you're a general practitioner, specialist, I don't care what you are, you gotta do it. And let's talk about what the PRCSM is. Public Relations Coordinator, Social Media Coordinator. Mine is Kristen, right there. I don't have time during the day to do social media posts. I don't have time to be banging on doors. It's a must-have today, period. It's your office rep. And if you think about it, a good office rep knows how to get through the door. A good office rep knows how to sell the product, and you like that office rep. So if that person's your office rep, whoop, they visit schools, businesses, they get magazine articles, senior homes, things that no one else thinks of. Coordinate study clubs, they coordinate all the marketing, and for specialists, they visit referring offices, medical offices, a great way to get patients. Gotta have social media. Patients like your social media. And if you have an older crowd, you're gonna be more likely to be on Facebook, younger crowd Instagram. We have both because our crowds are mixed. And you've got to have your social media coordinator. You've got to have it. And what's a mind blow though, this is from last year, only 30% of practices have a Facebook page. It blew my mind when I saw that stat. You've got to have one. It helps you today whether you like it or not. And so it just is what it is. Look. And doesn't like me. There we go. We go live on Facebook all the time. My hygienist, Vanessa, did a series on the mouth-body connection. Looks like this. See if I get it right.
Hello everyone, Vanessa here from Progressive Periodontics and Implants. I am one of Dr. Pink's dental hygienists. I'd like to invite you to a series of educational videos that we have branded our Hygiene Connection, where we will discuss the importance of your oral health and...
Okay. Stop it there, but you get the idea. She did a series on the mouth-body connection, and the first one got 680 views in 3 days. That's a mind blow. We'll talk about video in a second. It's one of your biggest purple cow wows you can ever do. You gotta have brainstorming. You gotta have group participation, breakout sessions, team reports. You gotta listen. You gotta develop your purple cow wows. You gotta work with your team, and every time I do a PBR or I coach a team, they get a PBR assignment of what the team thinks the doctor and the team have as their biggest purple cow wows, and what should they be doing that they're not. Ideas that blow everybody away, makes you remarkable, allows you to stand out. It's awesomeness. Top secret number 44 and a big one, SWAT. Does anybody know what a SWAT is? It's not a police team. Strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. And you go around the room, you know, somebody has like a big sticky thing over here, and somebody comes up, strengths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You do a round robin. Strengths tend to come from within, and they're very positive, and you try to make them stronger, what you'd be looking at. Then you do weaknesses, try to make your weaknesses less or eliminate them. Opportunities, what should we be doing that we're not, and threats. This dude's opening up in our building, holy moly, I can't stand this person. So strengths, weakness, opportunity, threats. And then we take the sticker off and stick it around the room so everybody can see it for the 2 days. We usually do it on day 1. And if you get really comfortable with yourself, you can do a personal SWOT where your team does the strength, weakness, opportunity, threats on you. And I carry my weaknesses in my case. It's right next to Kristen. I look at it all the time. When I do the weaknesses, I go, oh God, I know exactly what they're gonna come up with. ADHD, needs to focus better, needs to call more dentists every day, and I know that. And I try to improve upon it. So a STEW, which is satisfy the customer, team, extra mile, and the wow factor in all that you do. And you gotta read your dental journals, but you gotta read business journals. I discovered the STEW in the Harvard Business Review. I was reading it one day and I saw a STEW, and I'm like, that's cool. So we do a STEW as well. Personal SWOT, if you're comfortable, you gotta develop a mission, a vision, and a culture statement. Most dental practices, most businesses do not have a mission statement. They don't have a culture statement, a vision. Every one of my team members can tell you each sentence in our mission, vision, culture. And every once in a while in the morning huddle, I'll simply turn, Vanessa, what's the second sentence in our vision? Boom, comes right out of her mouth. And by knowing it, it helps, it's amazing, and it helps everything going. One of my buddies owns a very sort of successful Italian restaurant, and I tell him all the time, dude, you gotta develop a mission, a vision, and a culture statement, okay? And might beat myself up, but you'll have to go back and discover why. So, gotta have a mission, vision, culture, and that mission, vision, culture statement also sits in our clinical interview room, almost right next to the patient, so they can see it, okay? Boom, boom. Are you still all doing okay? All right, you gotta develop your why. Simon Sinek came up with this. Why do you do what you do? Okay? Gotta develop your brand. It's called USP in business, unique selling proposition. Every Fortune 500 company knows their brand. They know what they do better than anybody else, period. And most dentists have never taken the time to develop the brand. And you can't be everything to everyone. If you know what you do better than anybody else, and you figure out your purple cow wows with that, you'll blow the competition away. Elon Musk. Yeah, we're some electric company, and you're starting to see Teslas everywhere. So he knows his USP, and there can be many USPs, many unique selling propositions. That could be a team. And power of branding. When you know your brand, man. Starbucks coffee, my office manager Diana lives in Starbucks. She keeps my stock going. And everybody walks through a Starbucks line, even through, tough times right now and stuff, inflation. That'd be $6.51 for your Starbucks coffee, whatever it is. Where you could go to Dunkin' Donuts and it's $1.50 or something. Branding works, man. And it's going through my head, and I know I don't have a lot of time, but when you think about it, somebody goes into say a Ford dealer, wants to buy a Ford car, and they go in 2023, I just got to buy it right now. They come back a year later, I want to buy that car. Can I get it for the same price last year? Dealer looks at them, probably in their brain, they're going, are you cuckoo? The price went up. And it went up from the year before, and it went up from the year before, and it went up from the year before. Most dentists don't raise their fees enough. And if you know what you're doing, patients are going to pay. I decided a long time ago on fee-for-service. I do not take insurance. I hate insurance. I think it's a joke. It's a ripoff. It's hard to believe what dentists put up with. And this Friday, I got practice on Fridays. This Thursday, I got a double all on 4. Patients paying cash. Not bad. I'm not sure what she does. She drives a Tesla, which is kind of cool. But we're going to blow the patient away, because between myself and the restorative dentist, she's probably will have, by the time everything is done, maybe paid close to $60,000 to $70,000 money. She doesn't take care of herself very well. We've already hooked up with a spa. We're gonna send her there for a day event. Redo her hair, her makeup, that sort of stuff, to make her look like what she should look like. No, we can't talk about Emily anymore. Just kidding. So you gotta develop your practice goals at the PBR, the method to achieve them. And if you don't got the method, it ain't gonna work. Articles I talked about, motivational videos, team building exercises, you choreograph all your moves there. How to ask patients for 5-star Google reviews. Whoop. This is a blast. This is from our own PBR about a year ago, and when I do a premier PBR for somebody, we always do the snake. It's one of the best team building exercises on planet Earth. Whenever we do a PBR on the end of day one, I give everybody a book. This is from about 4 years ago. Everybody got Rich Dad Poor Dad. Last time they got 7 Habits of Successful People. Team surprises are huge. Last summer at our PBR, at the end of the day, I had speaker this and article that. And about 3 o'clock, I said to everybody, yeah, this was all bullshit, excuse the French. Reach under your chair. Everybody had, I think, $300 or something, or $500 in an envelope. We went to a discount mall in their office, and everybody went shopping for an hour and a half, 90 minutes only. They had to come back and show what they bought. Vanessa bought Dream Big, so you got to blow your team away. Group team text we have all the time. Copy it. It's a great article. I'm going to go really quick, but when people least expect it, you know, I'll put, man, we had an awesome day today. I love you all. We had 6 referrals today, blah, blah, blah. And when your team member writes something like, whoop, whoop, come on. Thank you, Dr. Pick. When you love your job and you love the people you work with, it's an easy gizmo. This was great the other day. I realized I was going to leave before Vanessa, so I quickly ran back and I wrote a note, and I stuck it on the back door that we all leave through, and it was her anniversary that day. We celebrate everybody's anniversary with a gift card and stuff. So Vanessa, happy anniversary again. I'm glad you're my friend. You're the best hygienist ever. I think it blew her away. And I got a thing about 10 minutes later. Oh my God, thank you, Dr. Pick, just what I needed, with a heart. So you blow the person away, you surprise people. Kristen, is this something we don't do all the, yes? All right, can't move any faster. Number 10, video. All right, this is towards the end. Video, people, engages 1,200 times greater than text. If you had $1,200 sitting on the table and you multiplied it by 1,200, you got $2,400,000. So 1,200 times greater than text. So I love video. And I send, I'm just gonna skip through that. That's a video I send. I do surprise videos. This is, hi, my 5-star Purple Cow Wow team. We had an awesome day today. Can't wait to see you on Monday, blah, blah, blah. And so you've got an idea, but I want to get to what is so important. Top secret number 11, the PIC post-procedural video check. Triple PVC. This has become one of our biggest ROIs, return on investment. And here's what a patient gets. We call everybody the night of surgery, night of procedures. Doesn't matter what you do. You're given a shot, given something, you got to call them. We got a call sheet. But the next morning, right after huddle, 2 of my team members stay with me, and we do a video thing, 50 seconds or less, because some carriers don't allow 50 seconds more. And then at 11:30 to 11:45 a.m., we send that video to that person checking on them, okay? So the patient gets something like this on their phone. Hi, Kelly, it's Dr. Pick and team checking on you. Please see the video. So that goes out at about 11:30, 11:45 on purpose, because most people are going to show that to their colleagues at lunch. And here's a typical text back. I've never received a wellness check from a doctor. You rock, best team ever. That's so awesome. You guys make me feel pretty special. coolest and most doctor team ever. This video is so cool. This video made our day. I'm doing a little sore. Dr. Pig and Gosha, thank you for checking on me. I feel fortunate to have your team. I know I'm going fast. Melted last night, making my husband wait on me. Hello, Doctor, my dear Dr. Piccanina Gosha, thrilled to receive this level of professionalism from your super staff. Doesn't get any better than that, and we get stuff like this back. I have a referral. Can you send me a business card? Mind blow. Whoop. Doesn't get any better than that. So about 2 more minutes. That's what it looks like when we do it. You've got to have a phone stabilizer so you're not like shaking. Don't forget, when you walk in your door, it is showtime. I don't care what kind of mood you're in. I don't care, what you had. It's showtime when you walk through the door. Holy moly, I think we did it. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.